What's happening here?
To all of us.
You with me?
Whoa, whoa.
He's a new partner.
Tommy's coalition to the ground before I let them take it from me.
It's just business, bitch.
Oh, we're about to break down Power Book 4, Season 3, Episode 8. That's coming in soon. It's crazy right now. They've just released exclusive images and we've got clips together. So we need to break these down. Oh, this episode's going to be exciting. You know, we've heard a lot. They're calling it Build Back Better. And in the description, they say, after a major shakeup, Tommy has to rebuild. Now, this is going to be insane. We know that episode 8's in Power are normally crazy anyway, but we know there's a lot going on. We've just come off the death of Stacey that died. Her Christmas was cancelled early, and the Christmas is today. Nah, she's missed Christmas. Tommy's cancelled that Christmas in episode 7. And on top of that, Tommy has now broken from CBI. And this is going to be a bloodbath for sure in this episode. We see it happening. We see it coming for sure. With a few deaths that we probably will see in mind. Now, where do we even pick up from here? Well, first and foremost, it talks about Tommy rebuilding. And on the thumbnail, it shows Tommy Egan and Shanti. Which is a crazy, crazy, crazy link up. That's a crazy collaboration. Who would even think this would actually happen for real? You know, Tommy, first and foremost, you know, he spent a lot trying to build Chicago with Diamond. And we've seen that for season 1 and season 2. Now we're seeing a complete 360. You know, for him right now, Tommy must be feeling lost in a way because at first, you know, you've built all this with CBI and now it's all dropped. I think we got the aftermath of that when he met Stacey and took her down. So after this being the case, Tommy has to reinvigorate himself and motivate himself. And this is where Shanti is also in the same position. You know, Shanti had really invested a lot with Jenard going forward between the relationship, and seeing Jenard betray her like that, it put her in the same position where she's like, oh wow, I'm lost right now. So her and Tommy are both in the same position. And you know what they say, the enemy of my enemy is a friend. And that's what these two are right now as a partnership going against CBI. Now, this is a dangerous move. Tommy really out for Diamond, Shanti really out for Jenard. There's nothing worse than the enemy, in this particular case, Tommy and Shanti being CBI's enemy, knowing a lot about them that can potentially break them down from the inside. Now, why do I say that? They have a big, big edge against Diamond and Jenard. Diamond drinks a lot. And he about to make mistakes. We know that. I ain't even think that. He think, well, no, that's why Tommy had the audacity to tell him, you ain't nothing without me. Because he know how Diamond is. Diamond lately, he out of it. Diamond out of it for sure. And I think that side of Diamond was shown at the time when he killed his probation officer. Yeah, we knew. We knew it was right for Diamond. Now, for Jenard, though, yeah, we know how Jenard is when it comes to the drugs. And, you know, it's been a slope. It's been a steep slope when it comes to those drugs. And Shanti taking full advantage of that. Full advantage of that. She's definitely going to take it for sure in these next coming episodes, you know. I feel as though these two collaborating always causes mayhem, you know. These two are the combo we never knew we needed. We saw how they dealt with the Queen Fling when she was in prison. You know, so the combo going to be dangerous for sure. It's going to be extremely dangerous. Now, if you ask me, they're going to do it Godfather style. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Now, if we see in the clip, Jenard's still speaking to Shanti. So already from the get-go, we can see that Tommy going to be like, yeah, she got to act like everything okay. You know? And to leap off from that, we see a picture of Jenard, which Chris Lofton had posted. You know, he's Now that the Lambo itself has been torn down by Shanti, he must have just got a G-Wagon. He's trying to live life again now. He feeling himself. He feel like, yo, he got Diamond back. He really feel like he got CBI back to what he used to be. So that's where his headspace going to be. And it shows him with blood in his mouth. So, yeah, I feel as though he's been boxed up by Shanti. Like, it was inevitable. It's got to happen because the last episode, it didn't happen. And I was surprised. I thought Shanti definitely going to have to put hands on Jenard. Like, she boxing, she's not done it yet? Nah, that's not going to happen. So we can imagine that will probably be the case. As we can see, she probably comes up and, maybe Jenard tries to press her. She boxes Jenard and then calls it a fade and moves forward from there. I feel like she'll do that and move forward after. That's where the plot is with the whole Tommy situation. Just to get closer to the enemy at hand. And the closer they get, the more exposed CBI is. So in these other picks, you see CBI, Jenard, and Diamond. Look like they know how Tommy be moving when it comes to tearing stuff down. So that's what they feel will happen. So they're really on edge right now. And in the clip that they gave us in the trailer, Diamond is taking someone off. We know it's going to be somebody who don't agree with what they do and that is on Tommy's side. So we can imagine, that's going to be one of the CBI members gone. Because right now, it's looking a bit crazy. Without Tommy, they've got more problems than they had before. One thing about having the Marquez cartel to deal with. But now you got to deal with Tommy Egan alone? No, Tommy a menace, especially with how much he invested in CBI. There's nothing worse than CBI being destroyed from the Eternal, which would have been Tommy Egan. Saying at the least, we see the exclusive clip with Tommy and Mireya. Tommy's saying, look, I'm a tear it all down. He's just come back from bruises. He's trying to sort himself out. Mireya's like, what's going on now? There's always something going on. And Tommy really has to explain, like, look, me and Diamond got into it and I'm out of CBI. I'm on a coalition. There's no coalition no more. It seems as though he really trying to say he's done. He's taking it down. And Mireya's like, no, don't take it down. It's yours. Take it back. And I think that's where the motivation started off from. Maybe that's how the episode really starts. Tommy trying to, rather than destroy all he's built, take it back to who it belongs to. And I feel as though it's going to be bloodbath. That ain't going to happen without a bloodbath. And we know this episode is going to be crazy and we're excited. It's crazy we're getting this on the night of Christmas. That's insane. So you can imagine this is going to be a back and forth with CBI. And I just feel as though Tommy going to be 10 moves ahead when it comes to Diamond. It's very interesting because I expect that Tommy doing this and winning, because I feel that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Tommy really ahead on these guys. There's going to be some repercussions, which we'll discuss later on. The other pick, we see Mireya. She running. She look like she in trouble. And this is just insane because we've never really seen Mireya in this much trouble. Back when she was with Miguel always made sure she was safe. She never had to deal with this, but now she's exposed and she's pregnant at the same time. No, this is insane. So she's going to be on the run because Ortega has found out that Tommy is with Mireya. Not only just that, but that they share the same kid. That's scary. That's scary going forward because she's a big threat. And the worrying thing about this that everyone's watching out for is the fact that Tommy's girls never last. Especially if they got a baby. Like we saw what happened to Holly. As soon as her life was short-lived. So she's really going to be on the run. And we just hope that, she survives. Maybe we might see a bit of Mireya in action. We might see it. Who knows? But, it's in her family, it's in her blood. So maybe we might see that as well. But yeah, it's going to be action-packed and it's going to be, people's hearts are just going to be thumping. Now, going forward in the clip also, Mireya speaks to Miguel. and she tells Miguel, like, look, Tommy can help. So Miguel gonna be like, man, I ain't know about this. Because Miguel is also in issues right now where, of course, Marquez cartel after him and his family. So Miguel knows, he's got a lot to do with right now. And he asked Che, look, just give me the green light and let me do what I gotta do. He ready to crash out on this. He feeling like he can do it. But Che ain't want drama. He ain't want no problems. Che ain't want no problems. So Che really like, get more soldiers. Make sure look what CBI doing. Make sure you're good. So that's put Miguel in a very sticky situation right now. And I think this is where we see the coalition between Miguel and Tommy. Now, already we know that they're family now, that they've got Mireya. So they're bound to team up. Teaming up is something that they're going to do anyway. But I feel, especially the fact that they need to go against the Marquez cartel, and they both are struggling when it comes to numbers, power, going forward. If Tommy was with CBI, it would be less likely that he'd team up with Miguel. But the situation Tommy in right now, he need all the muscle he can get. He need all the soldiers he can get. So I feel as though this is a 360 flip. He went from going against Miguel with Diamond to being with Miguel and going against whoever he needs to do that with. And I think that's a benefit for Miguel too, Miguel has been competing with CBI going forward. Now that Tommy's left with CBI, Miguel going to look like, oh, yeah, CBI easy pickings now. And that will benefit Miguel. It benefits Miguel to go forward now. And Tommy trying to take CBI, yeah, I think these guys are going to link up. They're going to unite. And I feel they're going to unite through this season. This season's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy season for sure. And saying that, Tommy also is seen with Che. In the trailer, we see Tommy with Che. And Che's like looking at him and he really thinking, look, you're trouble right now. Tell me why we shouldn't just take you out. Because Tommy always got something smart to say. So I think he really just wants to see what Tommy got to say, really and truly. Tommy always got something to say. So Che going to hear this out. He going to hear this out. Che probably found out, of course, if there's CBI issues already, there's no use for Tommy. Tommy only good with the soldiers and CBI he had. So if CBI are out, there's no real use for Tommy anymore. So Che going to be on a watch to see what Tommy has to say. This going to be interesting because, we always know what happens in power. With Tommy and Ghost and the plugs, they always find a way. They always find a way to owe more money. And I know what Tommy going to say. He said, I'm going to get you more bags. He really going to take from CBI for sure. And with the Ortega on the side, dealing with that beef, yeah, this is a lot he's going to have to deal with. Because Che always want peace in the streets and money too. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to unravel and fold all of this. But I feel like Tommy just going to definitely tell him, yeah, you know what? We're going to give you a bigger bag. Don't worry. We're here for that. So that'll be interesting to see. Now, we can't forget what Tommy did to Stacey. Tommy killing off Stacey Marks is crazy. Not only is it crazy, but he got to deal with Bobby. And we see in the images, Bobby has just seen Stacey's dead body and he is appalled because he knows he just spoke to Stacey just recently, just that night. So he knows Tommy. But what he got to know is how he going to take Tommy down the way he feel like he going to take him down. And you see in one of the images, Tommy looks like he's been pressed on law enforcement. So maybe Bobby's starting to crash out. Who knows? Maybe he begins to crash out and Tommy has to talk him down like, you ain't want to do this. You got to think about your career. So I think one issue right now is that Bobby has to deal with Stacey already confessing she's been compromised. So he's really going to have to see, okay, how can I make sure that her name don't get stained? Because I think that's always one thing in power that we see, that once someone dies, more or less, what they worry about more right now is, okay, how's her name going to be okay? How's her name going to be cool without it becoming a Harvey Dent situation, should I say, where your police dies and is a crooked one. So this is one thing that he'll have to probably deal with. And having to work with Sang, that's going to be more interesting. AUS, A-Sang's really, heat it up because he working with the Marquez cartel, the Ortegas. So you can imagine it's going to favor him to take down Tommy now. This might be the opportunity. They might end up unraveling a lot more. Maybe Bobby finds out who Sang really is. And that might cause an issue for Bobby. I feel as though Bobby might even get killed off by Sang. I feel like Bobby he in a strange predicament, and I feel like him finding out more information in this, we see what happens to the police who do this. The feds who find out more information are the ones that end up dying quick. And the feds in power that always try to do the right thing, yeah, you know their days are numbered. Days are numbered for sure. So I feel as though he's got to be very careful with Sang going forward, because he don't know the snakes in the bushes right now. He just walking in the jungle and he don't know what's going on. So he's going to be very jaded right now and thinking, what's the best plans going forward? Now, on top of this, you know, there's been rumors for ages throughout Power about JP. People are saying, will JP die in this episode? Is this going to be the big thing? We don't know, but it's looking like it. I mean, we're getting more screen time with JP for sure. But it's like they're setting him up to say, okay, we're going to give you all these sweet JP monumental, sentimental moments to only take him down. That might be what episode 8 has unlocked for us. They might try to take him down for episode 8. We see him with the exclusive pics as well. You know, he's been doing dinners now, having family time with D-Mac. So it's like, something ain't right. Something is not right. You know, JP might be in the way of Crossfire. And I believe he dies in episode 8. And in episode 9, that's where we see the whole church service. You know, they have a whole church service. So you can imagine that's where it's going to. So that's going to be interesting to see. The big thing here is, how does this happen? Now, the prediction I have is Jenard comes for D-Mac's head. Because we've got to look at it this way. You know, we've already seen pics of Jenard and Diamond putting heads together. But now, they're not even going to try to be sly with it. I think they're going to definitely try to take D-Mac. And I think what's going to be crazy, which I think will happen, is Jenard's going to go back to King Kilo and say, look, no. We thought it was old boy, but we realized that no, it's D-Mac. So maybe King Kilo tells Jenard, look, if you are serious about this, you have to take D-Mac. Gotta go. He gotta go. If he don't go, then you guys go. So I feel as though they're definitely gonna go for D-Mac. And this is where JP gonna be in the way. Whether JP saves D-Mac by sacrificing himself, but a hit goes wrong for sure. And this is where D-Mac definitely gonna crash out. And we see that in the trailer where he's just sort of going thinking, nah, this ain't it. And you know how D-Mac is. D-Mac definitely gonna crash out. So we feel as though episode 9, you finally see the funeral, and D-Mac right after is just definitely gonna do what he's gonna do. Like, you can't advise D-Mac not to. Maybe Tommy gonna tell him just ease off for a minute till we figure things out. But now we know where this gonna go. You know, episode 8 and 9 are gonna be crazy episodes. And Tommy, you know, Joseph Cora said that episode 9 gonna be sort of to complete the Force, while episode 10 will be going a whole different direction. And I think the 8 to 9 is where we see the back-to-back with CBI, Tommy, D-Mac. That's where we're going to see the back and forths. So that would be exciting to see for sure. I feel episode 10, maybe a more of a cartel situation with Che. Of course, there's rumors about Tariq. And that's what everyone really waiting for. Everyone wants to see Tariq. So I feel that's where episode 10 we see him, because they're going to do what they did for Ghost, where Tommy turned up in the last episodes. They're going to do that for 2 week 2. And that's how they're going to move on with the Power legacy. And that, you know, it's crazy. I feel as though they've had a good build-up. Good build-up to get to that point. So we're definitely expecting that we're going to see Tariq coming in soon. Maybe for episode 10. And that is just going to be insane. You know, I think it's exciting how things have turned. We know it's going to be tragic at the end. Now, my gut feeling is CBI are probably done episode 9. Probably. But I feel as though the Chase situation is where things are going to really take a turn for the worst. That's what I'm thinking. We may be wrong. You know, there's a few theories people have had. The Chase situation is something that him pressing Tommy or him pressing the family is going to probably make Tommy feel like, yeah, you need more numbers. You need Tariq. That's what I feel. that could be one angle of what will happen going further. Another situation could possibly be something from New York. Something from New York appears. It could be the Italians, considering what happened with Proctor, Proctor's daughter. A lot of people have been talking about how, they're definitely going to come back to look for Tommy. And I feel as though if news goes around that Tom's still alive, his head definitely still a target. They still got a number on his head. So that could be another angle, that can really cause Tom to maybe reflect back on New York and reflect back on his alliances. But we definitely know it's going to be exciting. And maybe CPI. Maybe Jenard Diamond really do something that really makes Tommy feel like, nah, this ain't the one, this ain't the one. I'm going to have to call little bro. Maybe that causes it. But definitely with all these options right now, it looked like the next 3 episodes are going to be insane. So definitely, guys, leave your own predictions. After we'll watch this power, of course, we'll do breakdowns, see what goes on, have a breakdown for that. We'll see definitely the tragedies that we've got in store. We'll see the next trailer, so we'll have a breakdown for that as well here in Entity Express. You guys definitely know me when it comes to my reactions as well, so definitely check the TikToks, all of those. You know what, we're going to react to these as well, and you don't want to miss those. Those always come out early, so make sure you watch Power on time and come and see the reactions. For sure, that's going to be interesting. You can see that on TikTok, on IG, Facebook too, so make sure you definitely check for those reactions. For all these breakdowns, we're going to do a lot more, so make sure to tune back here tomorrow morning for the full recap of the episode, and we'll also have breakdowns for the trailer as well for episode 9, and this is going to be lit. Let's see what happens.